South Africa is standing at a moment of profound significance, a crossroads that feels charged with tension, uncertainty, and emotion. The atmosphere across the nation is heavy, as if the very air carries the weight of change. This moment is defined by a new immigration law that has just been approved, a law that is anything but soft, subtle, or conciliatory. It is strict, uncompromising, and unapologetically direct. Its introduction has created ripples that are already spreading across every corner of the country, shifting conversations and altering the way people view their surroundings. From family homes to workplace lunchrooms, from busy taxi ranks to small neighborhood shops, from border towns to church gatherings, no part of South Africa remains untouched. Everyone seems to have an opinion, and indifference has become a rare commodity. For some, this law brings a sense of relief. After years of perceived chaos, they believe that law and order are finally being restored. For others, the response is the opposite: fear, anger, and anxiety dominate their thoughts as they contemplate the implications for their families, livelihoods, and futures. Some are quietly planning their next steps, trying to imagine what life under these new rules might look like. What is undeniable, however, is that South Africa is entering a new era. The country of last week is no longer the same. Something fundamental has shifted in the social, political, and emotional fabric of the nation. Immigration has been a persistent, almost omnipresent topic in South Africa for years. Like a drumbeat in the background, it has alternated between quiet murmurs and explosive clashes, but it has never faded. It is heard everywhere, in the debates among passengers in taxis, in the political speeches that manipulate public opinion, on social media where disagreements often escalate into verbal battles, in arguments on street corners, and in heated discussions between friends, neighbors, and colleagues. Some citizens argue that foreign nationals take jobs that should belong to locals, contribute to rising crime rates, or operate businesses illegally without regulation. Others counter with equally forceful perspectives, claiming that foreign nationals are hardworking, entrepreneurial, and peaceful individuals seeking better lives for themselves and their families. Some say the spirit of Ubuntu, the principle of humanity and compassion, has been lost, while others suggest that Ubuntu has been misunderstood, stretched too thin, or exploited, leaving many citizens feeling unheard or disregarded. The weight of these years of socio-economic pressure has created a society that is exhausted, frustrated, and desperate for solutions. South Africa has carried numerous burdens simultaneously. The economy has struggled for years, unemployment remains painfully high, especially among the youth, and inequality continues to widen, creating a growing divide between those with resources and those without. The healthcare system strains under the weight of millions more patients than it was designed to accommodate. Schools are overcrowded, opportunities are limited, and crime continues to affect communities across the country. For people who feel they have nothing left to lose, frustration turns into urgency, urgency into louder voices, and louder voices into political pressure. It is this pressure that has now manifested in the new immigration law, which lands like a spark in a room filled with gasoline fumes. The law represents a dramatic shift in how South Africa intends to manage its borders and immigration systems. It introduces far stricter border control measures, ending an era in which people could enter the country quietly or without proper documentation. Deportation processes are accelerated, meaning that individuals living without legal papers will now be removed more quickly, often with fewer delays or leniencies. Heavy penalties are imposed not only on undocumented individuals but also on anyone assisting them. Employers, landlords, business owners, taxi operators, government officials, and even criminal networks face severe consequences if they aid or overlook violations. This is no minor adjustment. It is a clear statement that South Africa is altering its national direction, sending an unmistakable message that the open-door approach of the past is over. Yet behind these policies are real people, people with dreams, histories, families, and identities that cannot simply be erased by paperwork. Among foreign nationals living in South Africa, many have been here for 5, 10, or even 20 years. Some have built entire lives in the country. Their children were born on South African soil. They speak local languages fluently, enjoy local music, follow African sports passionately, and celebrate cultural traditions as part of their daily lives. For them, South Africa is more than a country they moved to, it is home. Now, faced with the new law, many are asking frightening questions: what will happen to us? Where should we go? How do we prove we belong when our roots run so deep in this land? Imagine being told to return to a place where your childhood village may no longer exist, where your family has been scattered, or where political instability threatens basic safety and stability. For a child who has only ever known South Africa, the prospect of being told that they are not from here is not just a legal matter, it is a profound emotional wound. On the other side are South African citizens who feel abandoned, overlooked, or pushed aside. Imagine a young South African rising each day, searching tirelessly for work, handing out CVs week after week while hope fades gradually, only to hear others claim, foreigners work harder. They accept lower pay. They take your job. Whether the statement is entirely accurate or only partially so, the emotional impact is real. It taps into genuine fears, struggles, and frustrations. Public sentiment, shaped by years of lived experience and hardship, has influenced political action, and this new law is a direct reflection of that pressure. It did not appear overnight, it is the culmination of building anger, growing community tensions, and a collective sense that the situation was spiraling out of control. Many South Africans have long insisted that their country must be protected, that borders should be managed responsibly, and that systems must be strengthened. Now, the government is attempting to assert control and restore public confidence, but the path ahead is uncertain. The real question is how this law will play out in daily life. Legal texts can dictate procedures, but the reality of enforcement and interpretation can vary widely. Will police conduct random checks on streets or in public spaces? Will Home Affairs develop the capacity to process documentation efficiently and fairly, or will delays persist? Will profiling increase under the guise of enforcement? Will businesses dismiss employees out of fear of penalties? Will criminals exploit fear and confusion to manipulate vulnerable individuals? And will politicians use this moment to inflame emotions and consolidate power? These are difficult and uncomfortable questions, whispered by many but often left unspoken in public discourse. The situation is delicate, emotional, and potentially volatile. With tensions already running high, even minor missteps could escalate into conflict. The coming weeks and months will be critical. South Africa is entering a period marked by uncertainty, protests, legal challenges, and intense public debate. Court appeals are likely to test the law's constitutionality, while demonstrations both supporting and opposing it are almost certain to occur. Families may be divided, individuals deported, and communities pushed to their limits. There will be moments of anger and heartbreak, but also moments of clarity, relief, or hope for some. This turning point in immigration policy will reshape lives, families, businesses, and communities in ways that are still unfolding. The storm may feel overwhelming, yet storms, while powerful, do not last forever. They often clear the way for new beginnings, however difficult those beginnings may be. As this transition unfolds, staying informed, engaging in dialogue, and refusing to remain silent are crucial. Silence allows misinformation to flourish, misunderstandings to deepen, and communities to fracture. Information strengthens society, giving people the tools to question, participate, and shape their futures. South Africa's story is not ending with the passing of this law, it is entering a new and complex chapter. The road ahead will demand awareness, empathy, and resilience from everyone who calls this country home, whether they are citizens or long-term foreign residents. This moment forces South Africans to confront difficult truths about identity, belonging, and national responsibility. These conversations are not easy because they touch the deepest parts of life: safety, dignity, the ability to provide for families, and the sense of home. For many foreign nationals, South Africa is the only place where they have found stability, opportunity, and community. For many citizens, it represents their final hope for a better tomorrow, and any perceived threat to that hope feels deeply personal. The emotional complexity of these issues means that the immigration debate is never just about laws or documents, it is about the soul of the nation. South Africa has always been a land shaped by movement, cultures, ideas, and people. Its diversity is both a source of strength and tension, and the country must now redefine what it means to protect its borders while still honoring human dignity. That balance will not come easily. The coming months will require maturity from leaders, fairness from institutions, responsibility from communities, and compassion from individuals. Whether this moment becomes remembered as a chapter of conflict or one of renewal will depend on the collective choices of South Africans in the days ahead. Navigating this transition requires courage, empathy, and deliberate action. Lives are intertwined in complex ways, and the decisions made now will have repercussions for years, shaping not just legal outcomes but also emotional landscapes, social cohesion, and the fundamental sense of belonging for countless people. In the end, this moment is as much about introspection as it is about enforcement. It asks every South African to consider what kind of country they wish to live in, the values they hold dear, and the ways they can contribute to a society that is both secure and compassionate. The new immigration law marks a definitive point of change, but laws alone cannot resolve the underlying social and economic pressures that have long shaped public sentiment. Resolving these challenges will demand honest conversations, systemic reforms, and a recognition of shared humanity. South Africa is at a defining crossroads, and the choices made in this period will reverberate far into the future. The complexity of human experience means that simple solutions are rarely sufficient, yet this is precisely why empathy, dialogue, and responsibility are so vital. Both citizens and foreign nationals are bound together by the shared reality of living in this nation. Understanding, patience, and cooperation will be required from all sides to navigate the uncertain waters ahead. The journey will not be easy, but the potential exists for a chapter of renewal, where challenges become opportunities, and where fairness and dignity guide collective action. For the foreign nationals who call South Africa home, this is a time of fear and reflection, but also of resilience. For citizens, it is a time to confront frustration, anger, and insecurity, while seeking constructive paths forward. For the government, it is a moment of accountability, where policy enforcement must balance authority with humanity. South Africa's identity, its values, and its future are all at stake. How this moment is handled will determine whether the country emerges fractured and embittered, or stronger, more unified, and more compassionate. Ultimately, the new immigration law is a catalyst for broader reflection on what it means to belong, to protect, and to coexist. It is a reminder that laws are only one part of governance, and that true social cohesion requires empathy, understanding, and shared responsibility. South Africa's journey through this storm will test the nation's character, resolve, and capacity for unity. As individuals and communities face these challenges, they must engage honestly, communicate openly, and act with awareness of the human dimension behind every policy. Only through such efforts can the country navigate this critical period with both justice and humanity at the forefront. This new era demands resilience, dialogue, and vigilance. It calls on citizens and residents alike to participate actively in shaping the future, to resist silence, and to confront misinformation and fear with knowledge, empathy, and compassion. The road ahead will be difficult, but it is also an opportunity to redefine South Africa's social contract, strengthen its institutions, and reaffirm its commitment to human dignity. Every conversation, every decision, and every act of courage contributes to the unfolding story. South Africa's journey through this turning point is a test of its collective spirit, and how it responds now will shape the nation for generations to come. The challenges are immense, the stakes are high, and the human stories are complex, but within this storm lies the possibility for renewal, understanding, and a stronger, more cohesive society.